Hey there, this is Shannon with part 3 in the series of Improving Your Show Design. If you've not watched parts 1 and 2, links are below. Give those a watch before you know what we're doing in this. Also, there's a couple of forms you can download. One's a questionnaire, which is what I used in the previous video. And today we're going to be using that flowchart production sheet link. You definitely need that. Anyway, let's get to it. Alrighty, so what you see here is a flowchart. This is, matter of fact, one I did tonight. So I did 2 parts of this show tonight. This is the central piece to planning. It keeps everybody together, communicating together. I will say the programs that use a spreadsheet like this, they are much, much happier with the final product. The groups that refuse to do this, I am constantly doing rewrites or there's issues when the drill is done. This just keeps everything nice and organized. The worst thing in the world for us, the designer, when you're writing from multiple bands, is email after email after email with requests. You want everything centralized and done. Matter of fact, I go a step further. If we want to keep a running log of conversations, we'll sometimes just create, like, let's say a Google Doc, and we'll just talk back and forth in there. So I like to use Google. Most schools are now using G Suites. Majority of my clients do. Google is free, so you can get a free Drive account. So your staff member can get a Drive account. And professionals like me, G Suites is super cheap per month to keep everything very, very organized. So let's talk about how this spreadsheet works. So you see measures, and all this is measure numbers of the drill move. Counts. How many counts in that series? I'll put that there. Letter, if there's rehearsal letters, I'll put that in. Move and hold. This is preliminary right now. This is not finalized. I just did this tonight, but I, for now, see, like, say, a visual. And for me, visual, I will put, like, visuals and holds, I'll do a red row. I'll discuss about that in a second. Just notice I missed that. I'll put in certain, let me go on. So there's move and hold. Then there's special notes, especially like props, prop moving, moving soloists. I will eventually put a lot of things over in here, the more in the process we get into in the future. Focal point. For now, I just put my battery in the battery, need a little more featuring. We're going to discuss things a little more. Me and the guard person are going to break this down just a little bit more. Then I might start putting more things over here. Sometimes the focal point might be a prop or a soloist at a prop. We discussed in the last video about microphone placement. So I might need to move focal point. I'll put it in like a certain color and like, hey, I need to move a soloist to over here. That way I can plan well in advance that, you know, the props on side 2 and it's a flute. But let's say at the end of part 1, the flutes are on side 1. And I got to have them, like, let's say by this set. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get them over there. And I could probably do that depending on the size of the band. So I want to sit there and plan things out beforehand logistically as far as field. Wind notes. And for me, it is usually voices. Like right here, you see low brass, low woodwind plus mellow. And then down here, I'll have high brass and upper woodwinds, mid voices plus bass clarinet, low brass saxes, mellows. I will always, you know, certain voice staging groupings. You will notice mellophones and saxes get treated odd. Sometimes they're a separate voice. They are a true middle voice in a large band and a smaller band. They get passed around. Sometimes saxes are woodwinds. Sometimes saxes are treated like low brass. In this group's case, the mellophones and the woodwinds are sometimes treated as a low brass quite a bit. So I'll mark that in here. Also, I'll put notes like think about row 24 staging. So I'll go to row 24, low brass saxes and mellophones. I want to make sure that I get them into a good area. Also, there's another one, woodwind feature. I'll start to think about that woodwind feature earlier to make sure they're in a good spot. So, and like right here, I have low brass saxes and mellows. They continue, but next phrase at 12, this is the musical focus. Then the musical focus. And I'll, like, so let's say it's ensemble mostly 2D. I'll put that in. I really want to think about the winds, because at the end of the day, I want the kids to be able to be in a position where they can play at their best. Guard notes. This usually gets added over time. Guard person will have access to the sheet. They'll put in their notes, their request for changes and this and that. Then we'll go from there and we'll discuss them. Because sometimes, quick example for a future video that you will see probably about 2 parts from now. Let's say they requested 3 equipment changes in this opener. You would have an equipment change every 3 drill moves. And so if you've been watching this, you've probably done some contests and been judged. That variety of staging, you won't have any because you're constantly in transition. And we'll discuss about things like that. Pit, I put pit, but it's actually battery notes. I'm just letting them know that the pit is the musical focus during this, is the pit. So there is nobody playing but the pit, the battery focus, because the battery gets in. So I'll put everything in here. Now you'll see green. Green is where I got questions, or I can like list something you might want to, like the director might want to look at. But this one, in case of the guard notes, I'll put that in there. Bring some to the battery for focus, meaning, hey, we might want some guard people over here near the battery to, hey, watch us. Also put down a could combine to a 24 count move. This is a 16-8, 16-8, 16-8. I believe this is Enterprising Young Men. 24, it's like 16 counts and kind of like 8 away. 16 counts and like 8 counts in between. That's how I read it. That's how I see it. Could combine into 24 counts. Let's say director wants me to kill a couple pages of drill. In the final product after we discuss, we'll write this out. Let's say I wrote 70. That's a little too many. This is well, I can go back and there's some places I can logically take away a couple drill moves and we'll do from there and it'll be great. So I'll put those over here on the side. That's kind of a special bracket. Also, I'd love to mention if I have a dance team in majorettes, they'll be in J and K, and I'll put this column right here in L. So those are special comments for me. So I'm already thinking about, before I even write a dot, about how the drill is going to function strictly from point A to point B, and does this make sense before we write. We're not thinking artistically, we're thinking logistics, and that's it. Most problems are not artistic problems, it's logistical problems of making that work on a football field. All right, that's this. This is a very short video, but I will always go back to this sheet right here quite often and discuss things, and how having this all down will help you or your program in the future. So if you're a band director, download the file and maybe want to share it with your drill designer. If you write your own drill, you might want to use it yourself. Your drill designer might have their own system they prefer to as far as organization. This is just mine. Again, I like to team share. Everybody, we kind of work like this. This is our central sheet to communicate. One thing I did forget though, let's say we put focal points or we put special notes here to the side. They might put down a thing and all I ask them is to initial it. So make some space, pull down, just pull down the row, add yours in there, and you would make comments and make some space and go blah, blah, blah. This is, let's say, AW wanted to make a guard note in here. He would put AW hyphen, write down the thing, hyphen AW. That way I know it's his request. And that's that simple. So this is the flowchart section. Let's go back to that first video. This is when it comes down to how much time do they have to study the score. If you're not giving your writer adequate time to study score, this can be an issue where a lot of things don't get planned out before they're written. By the way, this also will help out with this, where the above demands logistically sound. If there's usually problems at the end of the year, it's because of this. Sometimes it's, maybe everything was staged right, but let's say the band got a little too close, or that could have been written that way, or it could have been, just marched that way. But usually, I'm going to say 90% of problems in shows are a result of not thinking things logistically through. All right, next video is going to be about props. Should be a short one. One after that's going to be about guard. Then we're going to talk about other auxiliaries. Then we're going to talk about the final process of putting everything together. I think that's how I got everything planned out. Again, if you have not subscribed, hit subscribe. Click the bell to be followed and notified. That way you follow me and you get notified when new videos are up. Hopefully I'll get a little better at this video editing software. These past 2 videos I did in 2 takes, an intro and the actual screens you see right here. Hopefully they get a little better. You get to see a little bit more of me. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. But anyway, have a good day. If you get any questions, by the way, feel free to contact me on Facebook, SCJ Drill Designs. I'm on Twitter at SCJ Drill Designs. Also, if you need to email me, email questions, Shannon at scjdrilldesigns.com. Always you can contact me. I'd be happy to help you out as best I can within reason. Yes, I'm a drill designer. Yes, I'm a professional. Yes, I work as a consultant. But if you had just a couple quick, easy questions, you're like, hey, I got a couple questions for you real quick. I can help you out. Don't abuse it, but I'll be happy to help you out. All right, that's that. Have a great one.